San Diego State sweatshirt that I got from my lovely wife for a Christmas present. And I am an alumnus of San Diego State, an alumnus. Yeah, I'm singular, so I'm an alumnus. And I jointly went to San Diego State and the University of California at San Diego, which is a different school. Went to both of them, spent way more time at the second one, the University of California at San Diego. But I got a degree from San Diego State. So anyway, kind of proud of the Aztecs, which is there's our logo, and I think that's an S and a D. Well, I haven't done any searching today about what's some of the bigger environmental issues out there. Wow, Leah Tourling says, "Hi Wayne, it's been years." It said she accidentally typed yeets, but I think she meant years from when she joined EAT, and it's cool to have her here with us today. So Leah, where is home? Um, so we have both of our note takers, and whoever this person in the audience is very cool. GFAB or ag, which sounds like maybe that's a person that isn't a regular attendee. It's not a name that I recommend, excuse me, that I recognize, not recommend, but recognize. Leah, tell us where, just in a note or something, where you're from in the world. Same thing, GAFB ag. And
Yeah,
also,
gee,
and that person raised their hand, which we
yes.
we can have you come on in just a little bit. Let me just get a little bit more of the start here, and then
Okay.
go ahead and let you speak. Um, um, we've had two of the Otter systems, which I am a huge fan of. I've told everybody that I use it frequently. And I don't know why my Otter doesn't show up on this webinar. It never does it, Mark? I don't know why.
No, I think it has to do with some setting with AI components. I think there's an option to enable AI component for
Okay.
every session. We might have like disabled it accidentally.
So Leah is from New Zealand. Very cool. Um, we will unmute you, GAFB, AG, in just a second. And so your mic's probably working fine, but I think you're,
Oh, okay. I got mute now. I wasn't sure my microphone was working. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure being in here. And
uh,
the we're
Mark,
planning to this Saturday a meeting online. It's global with several invited speakers, and I would like to invite you if you would like to say something about the focus of the group is to reduce the human footprint, which is really the critical issue. It's not the population, it's the footprint of a minority of the population that is having an enormous impact. If you follow the work of Rees at the University of British Columbia and others, you will understand what I am talking about. Otherwise, it may need some explanation of what that is. And it goes from there. We need massive. The number two focus is that we need massive re-education in schools and universities. You were talking about UC San Diego, not UC, but state CSU San Diego. I'm very familiar with the education system, and it's a disaster. we are we are educating for consumerism and destruction of the planet 99.99% of the time. The third aspect is that we need a universal eco-sustainable income, not basic income like what Germany is doing, but a basic income and try to inject some new thoughts into the discussion. And then number 4 is we need to ban fossil fuels, plastics, and the synthetics that were developed since World War II and during started with the mustard gases and everything else in World War I, and then came into neurotoxins and the neural system, the destruction for controlled human experiments to control population. It started in World War I, went into World War II, and then at the end of the war gave rise to the neurotoxins and pharma and that associated drugs up to today. Then in the general consensus, we show we have speakers, architects, engineers from all over the world. We had about 300 sessions already in the last 7 years or so. It's going up to 7 years. We'd invite, including 2 Nobel Prize winners, on people building homes with adobe, cob, straw bale, non-toxic materials. We spend an inordinate amount of time inside of our homes or inside of offices and breathing all kinds of stuff that's not that good for ourselves. Then how to install solar, how to install heat from the sun, for both for cooking and for warming water, for the shower, for the kitchen. And then a few more, and then organic agriculture. So no dig, which most people don't know what that is, and no till. Some people begin to understand what no till is. But that's what we do. We will do a Saturday, Earth Day celebration this Saturday, day after tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific. You're all invited to participate and walk the road with us and stay if you like. If you don't, if you think you can do better, let us know. We would like to know. But I think these are the solutions that we need. We think that these are the solutions that are really necessary to make a change if we have time to do it. We might not even have time to do it anymore.
Can I stop you for a second? Slow down. You're a really slow person. You'll get faster. No, I'm joking. Where are you at? Where are you at?
I'm in South Los Angeles, so
Okay.
we are somewhat neighbors, and also.
But anyway, I'm in Idaho, so I don't think we're quite neighbors.
No, but
I grew up in
and also in more to the north with a farm in the northern part of California.
So how far north? Where is your farm?
A farm and also a place for the first free and open university of eco-sustainability in the world. Free and open. I spoke with my colleagues. I spoke with my peers. I spoke with both peers, deans and chancellors, and presidents of universities and presidents of countries on the urgency of establishing a plan, pretty much like FDR did in the 30s with the CCC, with the Corps, that he hired 30,000 people, and some of the structures for rainwater catchment and rainwater collection are still visible by satellite or by foot. You can go there and walk them east of Oracle, between Tucson and Phoenix. He built these 300 feet wide half moons to capture rainwater from the arroyos, from the flash floods in Arizona, and walked away. And they just walked away with picks and shovels and a few mules, no bulldozers, 30,000 people. Well, what happens is that the rain collects in those half circles, brings moisture, it goes into the ground, that fertilizes moistures the seeds on the ground and the seeds brought in by birds and mice and desert creatures and lizards and rabbits and whatnot. And
GFAB, we're
30,
going to have to
30
stop you here. We have other people in our audience, and they have other things they'd like to talk
I
about.
just let you know it's a lot of things that we
Okay.
do. You asked the question, so that's
You've hit on about a lifetime worth, so that's wonderful. Well, they're
yeah.
all
I'm a being who's going to die. I'm not here forever.
okay. Yeah, we all are. So anyway,
Good,
um,
good. It's good to
Mark,
know.
well,
Yeah.
I would hope that we all know we're going to die. I guess so.
Not all of us. We don't.
Oh, you don't know whether you don't think you might die. Wow. Okay. Anyway, Leah, let's see if we can unmute
No, the
Leah.
other way around. Not all of us know that we are beings who are going to die.
Yeah,
That we are not important.
I've unmuted Leah. No, it's her turn. So
I
yeah,
think,
good.
am I unmuted?
Yes,
Yes.
you are.
So it's the first time I've been here, so I suppose I do have a question.
Yes, go for it. Go for it. What would you have as your question?
It still says
Yes.
unmuted here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So there are, I suppose, two questions. First of all, how do these calls, two questions, how do these calls kind of structure? Like, are they structured? How do they work? Was it just this, what we're doing?
No, we've been doing this for 8
Yeah.
years.
Yeah,
And
gosh, it's a long time it's taken me.
once a week, we do what's called Talk with Wayne.
Yeah.
And this is pretty unusual. I'm not sure we've ever had a call like this one yet. Mark, is that true?
Oh, so
Years?
do we, so
Right,
how does
yeah.
it normally work then?
It normally works I talk most of the time. And
Okay.
I don't like that, but I
Okay.
actually like it when other people help and get engaged also. And there isn't and we have guests, specifically invited guests, and
Okay.
one of them, Doug Ness, is not here today, but Doug will be doing a live presentation about his living off the grid in Alaska in next week. But we also interview others. And again, if you've been a part of EAT for any period of time, we've interviewed over 1,500 different people over
Yes, I've seen that.
years. So we have one new interview. Don't we have two next week, Mark? We have one or two next week.
Yep.
So that's
Rand McGill is he's on Wednesday. Yeah.
right, right. So, but there's really not a format to this.
Okay.
Just talk with Wayne, come up with questions, and see what the interaction that we have. So, what question did you have?
Thank you. So then the question, I don't want it to seem, it seems really out of the box because I haven't, so I'll just go straight to it. Please don't think it rude. But when I went into because it is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, be part of this, but depression and life challenges and health issues and all of that didn't know it was 8 years, my God. So my question, please don't be offended by this. It's not the only thing that's on the forefront of my mind, but before I logged in here or registered, I saw the website and there was a video kind of with awful AI, by the way, but the words behind it were the aim of economics, if I pronounce it right, because the video pronounced it differently. And one of them was, which is where I feel like I don't want to offend, that somewhere along the line there are options for financial. So because I wanted to ask about more details on that.
Options for what? I didn't hear what you said.
It's because I feel bad asking it for sort of financial support. I can't remember how they worded it, but basically I've been doing personal research through my health challenges for the last 7 years on regenerative living systems.
Okay.
In the sense that I know most regenerative living systems have a main focus on ecology, and my main focus is on health and well-being personal health and well-being as part of the regeneration of the whole of the planet. So our health as well. So it's coming at it from a different angle, but basing it on permaculture, biomimicry, and regenerative living systems, the work that have been done in all those areas so far. And I'm setting, it's a big project. There are many books involved and business side of it involved, all of those things. And it would be great if I could find, because I'm exhausted, if I could find some sort of financial help somewhere along the way to be able to continue this work. And so I can't remember the wording in the video, but it said, I don't know if it said funding or finances or something, but that's the bit I wanted to ask for clarification on, if I could. Did that make sense?
Yes, it does. Makes sense. Yes. We have funded millions of dollars worth of work over the last 33 years. The Institute of Economics has been, around since 1993. So for 22 years now, or 32 years now, excuse me. And I don't have specific track of the numbers, but it's been in the millions.
So how do I become part of that? Because I have had no financial support so far, and I'm beginning to think maybe I need some.
Don't just send money out to people.
No, of course not. So how does that work?
A proposal for the project. We can get you information about what we'd like to see. It's probably something pretty simple, a page or two at first initially. This is weird. Sounds like I just got a message on Zoom, Mark, that says it sounds like you might have switched to a different language. Please update so we can provide better quality transcription.
That's AI, you see.
No,
so what sort of process do I go through to inquire about that, I suppose?
I just said a 1 page or so document that describes to some extent what it is that you would like to have funding for. And then after that, we would probably have a conversation, a Zoom type or something to where we can look each other in the eyes and talk about it. Probably have a couple more of our board members that would be involved in that also. And then we usually ask for a little bit more detailed of information as to what it is that we would be funding. Most of what we have funded has been live work. It's been on the ground. So as you said, we have done a number of interviews with people and series and courses with people on human health, a whole lot of them. But not funded a lot of what it sounds like you're very specifically personally interested in, not because we haven't wanted to, but we've never been asked. So
that's where I think there's a gap, actually. I think there's a big gap.
Yeah.
But, okay. So I just put
at least, take a
I'll think about it, because I hadn't really thought even what or how, but I just saw that and I was intrigued and wondered how it worked and what the process was. Okay.
By the way, I'm curious, and Mark probably is because he's the one that does the work for them. I don't know what video we have thousands of videos out there.
It was the first one on the when I went to the website.
We have hundreds.
And it was the first one on the header, above the fold.
We have hundreds of websites, so I need to know the URL. Which website that you went?
I think it was economics.com.
Okay, we don't have that one.
I'll have to go back.
Economics.org, and there is an economics.
Okay, then maybe
and that's not us. So, so I don't know.
Is there an economics.com and it's not you?
Yeah, we have an economics.com website. And there is another one out there that is economics. And they don't really do anything like we do, but
then I'll look up.
Mark, we don't have a video on our homepage of economics.org, do we? I don't think we do. Mark's got
maybe I was in the wrong one. So I'm sorry for asking that question then.
No, the question about funding is just fine. but you
Well,
talked about
no,
not
not of,
good, not good AI. I think what we
yeah,
might
that
AI
really
is
set me back.
good.
It
So,
was funny pronunciation, weird
well,
pictures.
people struggle with pronouncing the word economics also. So that's not at all weird. Mark, look up, let's put on the screen share economics.com.
Yeah, I was just
.com.
trying to open it and my computer's being really slow. So I can't seem to get
Okay,
it
I
open.
have our website, but let me see if the other one shows up.
Hold on, that one you just had there looked like it.
Well, that's economics.org.
This is .com, but
No, so
it
where's the
doesn't look like.
.org? That looked
So
promising.
this is a parked domain, so this doesn't exist.
And that's what
Uh,
I thought. That's been purchased long, long ago because we've tried to buy that and we have not
okay,
had luck.
So
You know,
where's
okay,
the economics.org? Can you
yeah,
show? Yeah, that looks, I
this is our.
think that's, I'm sure that's where I was. Yeah, I saw that picture. But I
Okay.
thought there was a video at the top. Well, I know there was a video at the top. I wonder if I went through more than one. Oh, maybe I opened
There's
one of those things and there was a video in there.
okay.
I'm going to try to open it again, but I think Zoom is preventing me from opening new pages because my computer's not working, but I'm not going to hold you up. I'll let someone else talk.
fine. You're great. You're doing good. Thank you so much.
I'll just see if I can find the visual to show you.
By the
Thank
way,
Hey,
you.
we have lots of members in New Zealand,
New
including
Zealand, really? Yeah, I remember when you first sent me that very first email saying, hey, we're setting up this group. I sent it out to all the permaculture people I knew. Like I sent it out to the whole world. So probably, probably a lot of them came from that, but not me.
have you ever
Um,
met Zebulon, who is
no, don't know
Joel
that name.
Salatin of New Zealand? He's an
He's
amazing.
where in New Zealand?
Oh, he is a person like Joel Salatin is here in the US,
Ah,
except a lot younger.
no,
Um,
I
and
haven't.
anyway, he's
Oh, yeah.
know if he's on the South Island or the North Island, so I'm not sure about that.
I have been a bit like I was heavily into the permaculture community about the time you set this up, and then life really got in the way, and I've been in quietly doing things
Okay.
behind the scenes, so I haven't really been much out there.
So
Um,
how are people going to be celebrating in your local areas Earth Day? It sounds like
yeah, yeah.
that our friend GAFB, who didn't give us a name, did he give us a name when he was?
no,
No.
I don't think he gave us a name. We can put him on again if you want.
Not yet, not yet,
Uh,
not
uh,
yet.
uh, uh,
Let's hold
okay,
on.
okay.
Yeah, this is the website. That's the one I was on, so I'll see if I can find the video.
All right.
We do
Um,
put other people's videos on there at times, but I don't know what I don't think there's on that side.
oh, maybe it was about.
Anyway, what and he talks about an event that he's going to be having, and if he could send us a link with where that might be, then we could find, we do have a lot of members in the LA area, and that could be cool. But what are some other people's, just throw it into the chat if you'd like. What are you going to be doing on Earth Day? I interestingly didn't focus on what might be going on around the Boise area because I am going to an event that is not directly related to Earth Day, but I do think it's directly related to making the planet better. And it's one out in rural Idaho with a group of people. And we're going to be cleaning up a wildlife management area for the Bureau of Land Management and doing that on both Saturday and Sunday. So I think that's something that we have going on, and I don't think the timing actually has anything to do with Earth Day. It's just that this was a really good weekend to do it on. What about you, Alicia? Alicia's always on our site. What are you doing for Earth Day? Put it in your thoughts about it. If you wanted to unmute GAFB again, that'd be fine, because he could then.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
You are a
Mute.
dominating speaker, GAFB, so that's
I
fine.
try not to, but
You're off the charts,
I
dominating.
think that's the way I speak. I'm not trying to dominate
Can you
anybody.
tell us your name?
And I give
Can you tell us who you are?
oh, it doesn't show in there.
No, it says GAF.
Yeah, call me Tony, like Tony.
Okay, hi Tony. Nice to meet you. Nice to have you. And have you been a member of our community for some time?
I met Dennis Weaver. I spoke to him.
Wow.
Yeah, I know him for a long time, and I've known him for a long
You
time.
know he's been dead for 15 years.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
It's
But
that thought usually comes too late. But he's one of the few that was trying to do some good to the world, because we are. Let me put this in very succinctly, very summarize it very. 10% of the world population is using 80% of the resources, not just one thing or another, it's everything. It's energy, it's food, plants, animals, water, air, minerals, everything. Socks, shoes, sneakers, cars, SUVs, airplanes. That's only 10% using 80%. If everybody used the same amount, and this is only an average, there is gradients, I'm sure you understand what those are. There is gradients in the population, in the distribution of resources. And there is no way these 80% usage, there's mainly the USA, the EU, and NATO countries. So less than 1 billion people, less than 10% of the world population. If everybody on the planet was using at the same level, we would need not one, not two, not three, not four, 5, 6, 7, 8 planets, somewhere in that range, and destroy them all. Now, this is the definition of insanity, and it needs to end, or it will end us like JFK was. I'm probably making you very nervous with this talk, but that's the talk that I discuss about in the meetings on Saturdays. Anyone that would like to join the Earth Day celebration, I'll put the link in the chat if I'm allowed to. I don't know.
oh yes, no, you absolutely
Okay.
are.
All right. Some people don't like that. No, I'll ask first.
Several times I've asked you to do it.
I'll be honest.
Maybe,
oh my.
can I suggest this? Use these a little bit more. This a little less. But
That's
no, I
good.
would ask you multiple times if you would put a link in for us, please.
Oh, I didn't catch that. I thought there's more people in here. You're asking someone else. But that's what we do. We go into that conversation head on, and we plunge into the conversation, and we had speakers also. Teal from New Zealand. We had some people from New Zealand. I'm always trying to get people from around the world. From Australia, there's several very significant groups in Australia.
So
From Africa,
will your Saturday event be virtual as well as live?
virtual, online, and before the online, I do as much as possible face to face, in person. So I go to colleges, universities, conferences around the world. I've been to the first Green Conference in Europe, first Green Summit in Europe. They were looking to me with my presentations, discussing these things like if I was from a different planet. I'm not. I'm from this planet. I grew up organic. I'm from this planet. I respect the water, the air, the soil, the food, because it's not because it tastes good, but because they make me. And this is a very significant distinction.
So let me tell you that I think
water makes us, not the reverse.
So I think you're right about the resource use equation you gave, I don't know the numbers, but it seems like it's probably accurate that some very small percentage uses a very large percentage of the world's assets, but and especially the important ones, food, all the things we need for living. So shelter, clothing, water, and so on. But I think you're a little, wouldn't you think maybe there's broader than Europe and the US? Because what about the burgeoning populations in India and China, where not that huge percentage of them are now underfed, are in that lower percentage of use. So is it just a US and Europe problem in your mind?
In most of that it was some of the transition that started in the 70s and after World War II, started the transition of industrialization from our country and from Europe, followed shortly thereafter, to India, first to Japan. We led the industrialization of Japan in the early 40s. What's his name? Charlie. With the quality assurance, we taught them about quality assurance. There was one guy from MIT that went there, I forgot his name, very, very famous. And then passed to India because the wages were very low. So most multinationals moved in there. I know because I moved them there. So I know what that is. And that is for export. It's not, now it's beginning to, consumerism is beginning in China. If you were in China in the late 80s and beginning of the 90s and came back to China the year next and the year next, you wouldn't recognize China from the previous year because it moved at an absurd, incredible, huge amount of industrialization, and it's still going on. Now, those things don't appear out of nothing. That is, they come from mines, they come from rivers, they come from oceans, they come from deposits down in the earth, they come from forests. So all of those things are products from the earth that were industrialized. And in the beginning, and up until recently, the great percentage, 80-90%, were for export. Yes, you could see. I saw those products on the shelves in China for sale for the average consumer, but they were in small quantities, and there were B stock, third grade jeans or shirts or t-shirts or sneakers or watches or computers. The great majority came to Europe, and they are still coming to Europe and to the US. That's probably something that Trump is trying to do, but in a very, very wrong way. It's to stop that flow. It can't be done that way, the way he's trying to do. But he went there and they came back to us.
Well, awesome. Do you have a website or anything you could put
I do.
on?
I'll put the link in there. It's very easy to find. It's on FB. It's called Grassroots, Eco-Sustainable Grassroots.
Okay, awesome.
And
why don't you put that in the chat, and let me quickly talk to one other person in our audience here, and we'll come back to you again. Alicia, you put in something very interesting here that I wasn't aware of the specific person, but you said, well, first, let me deal with one of any thoughts about carbon sequestration of cover crops? Obviously, yeah, I think they're amazing. And there's all kinds of evidence of how positive they can be in terms of carbon sequestration. So, and yet we still don't tend to use them as much. And obviously, industrial farming hasn't gotten a lot less in the United States, at least. So, but But then you put in something else that's interesting. Isaac Newton, pretty big name for everyone, predicted the end of the world after 2060. I'm not saying he did or didn't, but that's what you're saying. In a 1704 letter, which is, people forget how long ago it was that Isaac Newton was around. He estimated that the world would end no earlier than 2060, based on his interpretation of biblical prophecies. He believed this end would be followed by the return of Christ and the establishment of a 1,000-year period of peace. Any thoughts? And then you put in your source. I'm going to click on that source and see what I see here, but because I didn't realize that Newton made those kinds of statements, and he's not known for that kind of a situation, but that doesn't mean he didn't. Here's the article that Alicia was referring to. So it's interesting. I'm not going to try it. This is looks like a fairly long article here, which is probably very good. We should be looking at this a little more. But there's a prediction from a big name from long ago. Yeah, this is long. So if you want, Mark, it's in the chat so people can look at it. And it was actually an interview that looks like he did with Stephen David Snowbelin, professor of humanities and the University of King's College in Halifax. So anyway, that's kind of cool.
By the way, I found a Facebook page by, it looks like it's one of Tony's pages, but I
Oh,
can
go ahead,
find,
put it up, that'd be great.
right. So it looks like this is what Tony was talking about, eco-sustainable grassroots. And Solar Tony, is that you, Tony?
That's yes.
Okay. Okay, so
That's
this is,
exactly the website.
all right. Actually, this is Facebook page, but okay.
And they event this Saturday, so it's 2 hours. We'll have at least a handful of presentations, 10, 15 minutes on several of the topics that are described in the announcement. So there are 12 focus points that we stay on, we drill on those, we rehash on those, we come back, we describe them again. This is a language that needs to be learned.
By the way,
It's like
everybody,
a re-education.
join this page. Look at that. That's really easy to do. You just got to do a simple click. You said something very early on that I think I misinterpreted. Now knowing that you knew Dennis, and that what was being shown on that image that Mark just took off, put that back up, Mark, was an Earthship home or an Earthship home design. I don't think you were saying that homes made out of straw bales or Earthship are the negative ones. I think you were saying those were maybe not the negative, but that most people don't live in those types. Is that correct? I mean, it's more of our
Yeah, the homes that we live in are not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. The homes that we live in are not fit for human consumption, and I don't recommend living in them, even if at times I live in them. So
I mean,
we
look
need
at
to
this,
we need to
everybody.
rebuild in a different way by using natural materials and totally reject the use of synthetic chemicals that come from oil and other substances, natural gas, coal.
I thought you were saying maybe that adobe and straw bale were not good, but you were saying the opposite. I
The
misinterpreted.
opposite. The opposite.
Yeah, very cool. This is a great depiction. I haven't seen this particular one, and there's one
It's
element of
if I may make a note on that, I submitted this to the dean of my colleague at one of the top 10 universities in the country.
wow.
And I said, I want to do research on this because I want to follow the work of Rees at the University of British Columbia. That is seminal work. That's absolutely brilliant. He should have a Nobel Prize because he put the metric on consumption, not just in terms of kilograms or volume, but relative, a metric that is relative to the planet. And that's the brilliance. So we can say now, relative to the planet, how much or how less or how little are we using? And that's very, very extremely significant. There came another researcher at Stanford in the mid 80s, early 80s, that came with a very seminal, very also brilliant question that puts things in perspective, to not in perspective to how much you take home or how much you are measuring, or how many gallons of gasoline what we are using, but in perspective to the extent relative to the earth, to the planet, how much damage and how much that is I hope I'm making it clear. And the question at Stanford was by Peter, forgot his last name, it will come back to me. And he asked, from the products of photosynthesis, how much do humans appropriate? So anybody
Mark, let me share my screen. Well, keep talking, Tony. Keep going. I'm going to show Dr. Rees some of his stuff.
Yes, please.
Keep talking while I'm showing.
And there was a question of Stanford. He was a graduate student, later became part of the Ehrlich, very famous, if you know the story on climate and resource exhaustion on the planet. And from the products of photosynthesis, let me explain that. What are the products of photosynthesis? Well, the sun shines, it falls on the grass grows, the cows eat the grass, then we eat the grass, or we eat the cow, either way. And the onions and the potatoes that come from the soil, and on and on and on, and the forest, and on and on. Those are the products of photosynthesis. And the question is, from the bulk of the entire planet, how much do humans take for themselves from there? What percentage? And in 1986, when this was published, the study was published, and he has exactly that title, if you want to look at the appropriation of the products of photosynthesis. That's the title of the paper.
Is that one of Dr. Rees's?
That was not Rees. That was after Rees. I think it was inspired by the same train of thought,
okay,
and train of research. There was Witusek, Peter Witusek. I think it's a Polish name or Czech name. I forgot.
Well, we should Dr. Rees, who's now retired, to speak with us.
He is not. He's still active with the Club of Rome, and he has been there in the last one, the 16th, I believe, just a couple of years ago. So he's trying to. I think he left too much to others to do, and now he's trying to re-incentivize the old discourse, which is a good thing. Totally think is. His work is absolutely seminal. And going back to the products of photosynthesis, the answer in 1986, at the time the paper was published in I think it was in Bioscience, which is a peer-reviewed journal that it rates to the top, like the Nature or Science. It's very difficult to publish in there. The number was, in 1986, humankind was already appropriating from all of the products of photosynthesis 40%. And today we are already at 50%. That means from everything that grows on this planet that we take to making t-shirts or shoes or tires with latex and on and on and on, we are appropriating from the photosynthesis that falls on the planet. We are appropriating, taking off for ourselves a chunk that is half of it. Half of it. We say, it's mine, it's ours, it's from humankind, it's for our own use. And that's a huge, huge percentage. At the same time, humankind is less than viruses on the planet, is less than bacteria, is less than ants, is less than mammals, is as much less than fish, is less than forests. We look like a lot, 8 billion of people, but we are 0.1% of all the biomass on the planet, appropriating 50% of the biomass of the production of photosynthesis on the planet. This takes a while to digest.
Tony, is Dr. Mathis Wagernagel the name you were thinking of?
Wagernagel was a graduate student that Rees hired from Switzerland that doesn't come exactly from science. He was an economist.
Okay.
And he came in to work on a strategy that was devised by Rees to actually deal with the numbers and find that relativity of quantities relative to what is available on the planet.
By the way, everybody, this is a pretty cool website that published the most recent article I could find of Dr. Rees's, which was July of last year. It's called Resilience. So resilience.org. Very cool website, everybody. So. Well, Tony, thank you for coming. We appreciate you. Keep going.
I don't know when, Wayne, I don't know anything else to do because I've spoken with the deans and chancellors at the greatest universities in the world around the planet, personally spoke with them. We need to change the education because we are facilitating as students, as graduates, as the doctors and PhDs coming from the universities, we are facilitating the exhaustion of the resources of the planet. We're not contributing to abating and reducing the pillage, really the pillage that started 500 years ago with the discoveries and the navigators and all of those that came to all of the new worlds in search of resources, in search of there was the discourse started in the can be traced back to the middle of the 1300s. People in Europe were complaining that they were running out of land. They weren't running out of land; they were exhausting the land, and they came to the various continents in search of what they called virgin land. It's in the letters of Jefferson as well. We need to go west with Lewis and Clark and go west in search of virgin land because in a short period that they were in 100 years or so that they were on the west coast, they were already exhausting the planet and exhausting the land. They started looking west with Lewis and Clark in search of virgin land because the thin layer, 1 foot or so, that was on top of the soil at the time were already being exhausted with the only industry that was known, pretty much known in the 1600s. That was agriculture, pretty much in the 90 some, more than 90% of the population activity was in agriculture. Today, now agriculture is only 2%, and it's no longer agriculture. It's a disaster. So universities and discourse in the universities is not helping with that discourse. We can find solutions. We need to find solutions, but they are not. One of the deans I spoke to was at UC Berkeley, and he told me, Tony, it's very nice what you're talking about, but that's not what we do. And I asked him, why not? Why not?
How did he answer it? How did he answer that when you asked him why not?
No answer, Wayne.
No answer. Wow.
No answer.
So here's Dr. Rees, everybody.
That's Dr. Rees, exactly right.
This is a most recent article. Robert Hayes, one of our amazing audience guests, has found this for us, and it looks like one he's most recently done. It's actually a talk that he gave in February.
It's a scheduled meeting, yes.
So that was very cool. Well, we're going to get him on. We're going to get him to be a speaker for us, everybody. We'll get Dr. Reese on here. That would be awesome. Well, Tony, thank you for coming.
You're very welcome.
We're still got a little time left. So anybody
Just wanted to inject some new thoughts and new energy. I hope that that succeeds on that.
always
And in the discussion, because this is
the
oh,
problem.
you mentioned in there, you mentioned another one in here that I just saw.
Tony, the problem is you don't have any energy. You are just such a dull guy. I'm joking. So
That is another that is another born that way, and I keep going that way.
Yeah. Well,
So the just in passing in that was Herman Daly, and I recommend that I mentioned that in the comment. That's one of the seminal, one of the very, very few that economists in the world that understood thermodynamics. He's an economist at the University of Georgia, Herman Daly. I recommend anybody listening to
last name spelled D-A-L-L.
Daly.
So a little bit like Dolly, the artist.
Not the artist. It's Dali. Herman Daly.
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Anybody else got anything that they want to just throw into the chat, or we can unmute you real quickly if anybody else wants to come on. Mark, go ahead and be looking. I'm going to put Dali in here real quick and just see if we find.
Can I just quickly say, Tony, that was amazing. Thank you. It's huge. It's mega, and it needs to be spread. You're absolutely right. But I really think we need to figure out how to hugely simplify it so that more people get it. That's one of the problems, I think.
Yeah. I agree.
That's one of the problems with so much, is that there's so much that needs doing, and there are so many people that need to be involved, and the only way to do that is to simplify that message.
It doesn't go in one way. I'm not trying to push it in one in just 10 or 15 minutes, and I've been talking in here. It's give yourself some time.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to look at the Facebook page, and I'm happy to. I'm actually very good at helping get messages across to people and putting things in simple terms. So I would be happy to help out.
Begin to unpack it. And what it is there is 12 points. They are in the chat. Look at those 12 points and begin to unpack them.
I actually think even before the 12 points, because the majority of people don't know anything about those 12 points.
That's right.
So I actually think it goes quite a few steps back before that needs to be simplified. And you said it when you were talking with passion about the percentages and the misbalance of resources and what we're being used, and this is what stood out, and this is what I think will stand out. It's very simple, Tony, but this is what will stand out for the average Joe blogs. When you simplified the fact that the percentage of 50% is what we use, and we're at point something one of, that was huge. I think that in itself and on its own is a great starting point for the average Joe blogs.
Let me ask you, did I simplify it here? It will help me with your question, with your answer. Did I simplify, or did I make it overly complex?
I have to answer it in two parts. You simplified it in the end, but it took you too long to get there. Meaning, for the average Joe blogs, I think there's more than half of what you were saying that would just go over their head. And although I see, and we all see probably who are on this group, so we know where we're coming from, we can look at those 12 points and they make sense. I think the average Joe blogs doesn't know what half of them are. And this is a problem I have with it's the same within the permaculture community. It's like everyone's talking to the converted and what we need is people that are able to reach the people that aren't the converted, like that don't have the knowledge that we have, because we all know what needs to be done. We all know where the problems are. We all know the urgency of the situation, but the majority of the population, I don't think do. So that's why I think by the time you got to that final point, which was the thing that really, it was the only thing I heard of everything you said, to be honest. And I think that would be the only thing that the average Joe blog, I mean, that was big, 50%. We use 50% of the resources being only whatever you said, 0.1, can't remember the exact number, but it's the gap. That was big.
You know what? It was bigger
Yeah.
than that. It's a tenth of the population uses 80%.
80, gosh, yes, so even bigger. But I mean, that's the starting point, I think, for the average Joe blogs. I mean, they have to see the problem for what it is, not just a whole lot of hippies, sorry, talking about all the great ways that we can solve it when it doesn't mean anything to them. And I know they're valid, but the average Joe blogs has to see how much of an impact we're making. And not only that, but because everyone is really, what's in it for me? Like, I don't know whether the average Joe really, and to be honest, the average Joe blog has so much stress and so much stuff going on in their life that all they want to do is solve their own health problems and their own challenges. If they can see a connection between the challenges that they're facing and the way the world is going, then they will take action. Like, they have to be able to see that it will benefit them, immediately and their family and their friends and their loved ones. Then people will take action. And I think the point that you made, that's the bomb. That's one, I think, key area. Without all the stuff around the outside, because the stuff around the outside of groups like this, people don't get. And I'm sure we all just sound to them like ranting hippies. When what they want is to be able to solve their immediate problems. Does that make sense?
Good.
So and that's what I want to work on, simplifying those things so that more people can come on board. But
we do that on Saturdays. So if you like to join on Saturdays, we have invited speakers, folks that have been doing like building natural homes for decades.
So what I'm going to do, is it every Saturday, Tony?
For folks that have been farming organic for a very long time.
Tony,
I have a question. Is it every Saturday?
Every Saturday?
That's every Saturday. That's
okay. So I'm going to look at my calendar and schedule one, and I just don't know whether the timing in New Zealand works. But yes, I'd love to.
It's about 3 hours. 3 hours before now, 4 hours before now. So Pacific time.
Did you see that Mark put in the chat the Facebook page, Tony's Facebook page?
Yep, so I've got it in my tabs now. So I'm gonna.
Awesome.
I've been up really early. I need to go and have a shower and do something, start my day.
We're up against it here time-wise, everybody. We like to be very, very cordial and thoughtful of other people's times. It is top of the hour. This has been really fun today. You guys,
thank you.
The audience.
Time. Thank you. And thank you, Tony. Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you.
Unmuting.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Alicia, all of you. Thanks to the entire audience. And many, I think we've said this many times, a lot of you are going to watch this on replay. Watch it a couple times. There is some big time information here. And then go back and look at some of our other replays. They're all free. Go out and look at them. So anyway, thanks everybody. Everybody have a wonderful rest of their day. And everybody go out there and make a little money making the planet better. That's what economics is all about.